Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Underrail. And on this episode, we're going to continue where we left off. Basically, this will be the first video that we actually do real combat in, with our psi abilities and things of that sort. Now, before we get too much into the combat, we need to make sure that we actually equip the petrifying bolts. Now, these are used for the quest that we just got to use on the rat hounds to do some collecting the tissue samples for Dr. Quentin. Or the guy right here next to us. So you can do that by either clicking on it and dragging it over here to these little boxes, or you can just double click on it and it will go ahead and select it for you. And as you see, it automatically puts it down here in your little hotbar, so that we have 10 to use, and I think we only really need one sample. I'm not sure exactly how many more than that. I think it's just one, to be honest. But let's go over to cave tunnel exit and docks. And there's these little robots all over the place. Now, you can come down here to the side if you want. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you guys what's down here. This is to the docks. Now, you can use the docks to get to the junkyard real quick, but it costs a little bit of coin to have the guy ferry you from one side to the other. Let's see. So we can come down here. You'll see there's more sentry guards. If Gorchki catches me chatting instead of watching the water, he'll throw a fit, or he'll throw him in, actually. So let's come over here to the door. There is some stuff in here, I believe. Go ahead and shut the door so the sentry bot can't see you. Let's go ahead and try clicking on it. I think you can loot this stuff. Maybe not, though, because he can see through this little window. So if you're not hidden, I wouldn't try picking this stuff up. But there is some kind of cool stuff. There's 8.6mm JHP rounds. There's a frag grenade. And if you time it right, I think you can loot that stuff, but we're not going to risk it right now. You can see there's a couple more guards down here. Stay sharp. And this is Captain Savannah. Who are you? Never mind, I remember now. You're that new guy. You need a ride? I need to get to the junkyard. Catch you later. So you can say, I need to get to the junkyard. Alright, I'll take 8 Charons, or 25 credits, if you got those. Here you go. Give her 25 SGS credits. Oops, I think I left my wallet in my other armor suit. So, So we end dialogue there. So you can see it costs you 25 credits to zap over there. Now, you can walk the long way around and fight a whole bunch of enemies along the way, which is what I would suggest. Once you clear out the enemies, usually they will not respawn. There's a few here and there in certain spots that do, but overall, most of them won't come back, which is a good thing because you don't want to be fighting the same enemies over and over and over again every time you want to go someplace. So let's go ahead and talk to Malcolm. Going somewhere? I need to get out into the caves. I didn't give you your access card yet, right? It should be around here somewhere. He starts looking through the drawers. There it is. He produces a red access card and passes it to you. Now listen here. This is the procedure. When you want to leave, you let me know and I'll open the inner gate. You then step into the transition room. Then I close the inner gate and open the outer gate, and off you go. When you want to get back in, use the card I gave you on the console outside. Stand in front of the camera so I can confirm it's you. Then I open the outer gate and you step in for a quick bioscan in the transition area. Once I make sure you haven't contracted some horrible disease, I open the inner gate. What if I did contract a disease? The turret shreds you into pieces, and we burn the remains. He chuckles, just kidding, or am I? Okay, so open the gate please, I'm off to the caves. Not right now. So let's open the gates. This is a pretty poor design, to be honest, because like you saw before, I can just take the captain's boat and come over here. So if raiders really wanted to get in, they could bypass this entire safety net, or if I was really diseased, I could just pay for passage and the captain's not going to scan me, and all he wants is 25 SGS credits. So this should be further back, and this little area over here to the side should be further in front of it, if they really wanted to make this, mean something. It's not going to do anything it can be so easily bypassed with just a couple seconds of thinking about it, you know. So I don't know, maybe they'll fix that in the future. So you can walk around out here. There's not really anything to fight. There is somebody you can talk to here. In fact, we'll come over here just so I can show you what's over here real quick. And again, if you look through a window, that will show you what's on the other side. Of course, that also shows them, you know, what you're doing. So be very careful when walking by buildings with windows, especially when doing things you're not supposed to. Now, you don't want to actually go down this exit just yet. You will later on in the game, as more and more quests open up to you. That's the way you want to go to the junkyard. But for now, let's come in here and talk to this guy. Old Jonas. Oh, it's the young DeMiro. Off to do some hunting? What is this place? What are you doing here? I hear you are very knowledgeable of the tunnels, and I could use some advice. See you later, old geezer. Okay, well, if we want to be really, really mean and rude about it, so let's ask him, what is this place? This is the Crossroad Watch. The only way to get into our station from the tunnels is through here. What are you doing here? Just sorting through some goods I scavenged today. Want to take a look? See there's something you like? Before I take it back to the station, I offer you a fair bargain. Sure, let me see what you have. So you can see he has a few things. 7.62mm Hawker, which is a pretty decent weapon. You got traps. He's big into traps. As you can see right now, he's looking to buy 3 traps and 2 batteries. This guy is always looking to buy traps. So if you are one of those people who are going to be making those or have the ability to make those, this can be a decent way to make a little bit of cash. He's not going to give you a whole lot. He just doesn't have a lot of money. As you can see, he only has 58 SGS credits and only 20 Stigging coins. So not a whole lot of cash to begin with, unless you sell to him all the time. And again, he only buys traps and batteries. So, you know, what exactly are you going to sell to him that you don't need and then buy? He doesn't have a lot to buy in the first place. So, lockpicks, he got 10 of them. Fishing rod, I never really got to use it too much, but you can use this to fish for some fish, or I mean, you know, go fishing. And there's a couple quests that require you to have this later on in the game. So eventually you will buy one. So don't waste your time just yet or your money. You can get this later on when you really, really have to get it anyways. It's kind of expensive. Electronic repair kit can be used to repair electronic pieces of gear such as energy weapons, special goggles, and electroshock weapons. You got a compass already. He sells 1 bandage, more supercharged lithium cells, vials, rubber soles, just miscellaneous stuff. And he also sells blueprints for bear trap. Again, this is what he always wants. He wants more traps. So if you want to go that route and make some of these things for him, you can do that. Now, I've found that finding the parts you need to make stuff in this game is not necessarily one of the easiest things to do, especially right off the bat. So you may want to wait on buying the blueprints for things until you kind of figure stuff out. I would save it beforehand, buy the blueprint, see what it takes to make that item, and then load up your old save so that you can make sure that it's worth it. So you didn't spend all that cash and be like, oh, I don't have any of those items, I'm not getting them anytime soon. I just basically wasted 100, you know, coins for something I'm not even going to be able to use very much. This is kind of nice. Health increased by 30, but your agility decreases by 2, which sucks a whole lot. And Trapper's Belt grants 1 extra utility slot. Utility slots are these slots right over here where I can have the bolts. So I'd be able to have 3 instead of just 2. So if you're going to use a lot of grenades or a lot of traps, that might be something you want to invest in. Traps increase by 10%, basically meaning your traps will do 10% more damage. Cooldown of aiming traps decreases by 70%. So you'll be able to put traps down and stuff like that a lot faster. Bullet Strap Belt grants 1 extra utility slot. Intimidation increased by 5. Firearm reloading AP cost reduced by 75%. So if you're going to be doing a lot of reloading with your weapon, this might be a belt you go for because it's reducing your AP cost. So when you're actually in a fight and you got to reload quite a bit, you'll use a lot more or a lot less AP doing that. So you would actually be able to get an extra few turns here and there. rather than lose turns more often, so that's kind of cool. But we don't really want anything for him, so let's close that down. What are you doing here? I hear you are very knowledgeable of the tunnels, and I could use some advice. Been crawling through them tunnels all my life. What do you want to know? What can you tell me about the abandoned outposts nearby? The nearest one is just north of the Crossroad Watch. They stretch to the east and to the west from there. They were likely built by Omega Station, but are somewhat in ruins now since we put them out of business. Plenty of rat hounds there now. So now you have a little clue of what's to wait. Rat hounds are going to be on the other side. Oh, and if you were heading there, could you do me a favor? I was scavenging near those outposts a while back, and I think I lost my old digital watch there. It was about this big and made of metal. It doesn't have a strap, so I kept it in my pocket. It must have fallen out somewhere. Could you keep an eye out for it? If you bring it back, I'll make a good bargain for it. So, metal detectors on. I'll have your watch back in no time. I'll keep a lookout, but I can't promise anything. Sorry, but I've got more important things to look for than your watch. So let's say, I don't know, metal detectors on. Seems a little overeager, but yeah, we'll go do that. I'm not getting my hopes up, but good hunting. Is it really true that you descended to the bottom of the deep caverns? He laughs. Lad, there's not a place in this accursed underworld these old legs haven't visited. I've descended as low as one can go, and I've even took a peek into the dreaded mutagen tanks, and, well, maybe I'll tell you more over a drink sometime. How much damage did the earthquake do to the surrounding cave tunnels? Well, a lot of the passageways have caved in. I'd used dynamite to clear them up, but Tanner confiscated all of it to make it available for clearing up the south tunnel. Can't say I blame him. The metro is more important. The passage to the lake is clear, though, if you're up for some fishing. Can you tell me a bit about the creatures that inhabit these tunnels? Well, there's cave hoppers, rat hound, sea beetles. What critters are you interested in? Tell me about the cave hoppers. Those are the ones that aren't ready to attack. You can walk by them all the time and they're not going to attack you. They are harmless little critters, quite tasty if cooked properly too. You'll generally find them near lakes and other damp areas because that's where the favorite food, lake mushrooms, grows. They can be hard to hunt down sometimes because they are very fast and can crawl through crevices you wouldn't think they would even fit in. If you're looking to catch or kill one, best tactic is to hide near a patch of lake mushrooms and ambush them when they come to feed. So let's say, what are rat hounds? Rat hounds are ugly, smelly, mangy, disease-ridden dog-sized rats. You can find them anywhere, and if you can't find them somewhere, know that they get there too eventually. So if you go to an area and they're not there, basically he's saying they're going to show up at some point in the future. Individually, they are not so tough, but they usually move around in packs, sometimes hordes. They are very good pack hunters, so don't let them surround you. If you are in a pinch, throw flares. They are deathly afraid of fire. So that's a good idea. If you have psi abilities that can use fire, apparently that might be their Achilles heel there. Tell me about the cave hoppers. We already did that. Sea beetles. Now there's a critter you just want to steer clear of. Scientists call them Arzul something because of their blue stripes, but the rest of us just call them sea beetles, or sea bugs for obvious reasons. They can sling all types of psionics at you. If you bump into one, you might be able to take it, but it literally causes you headaches. If you run into two of them, you better start retreating while you can. At least they are not that fast, so you should be able to evade them. If you run into three, it's probably already too late. You see, the weird thing is, not only do they hit you harder when they are in a group, they also start throwing crazier and crazier stuff your way the more of them that join the fight. If you absolutely must fight them, try to get close and personal. They are not comfortable with exposing their massive brains to sling psionics while people are near them. Instead, they will either try to gain more distance or will bite you, and their bite is far less dangerous than their psionics. They usually hang around mine shrooms, so when you see one, be on your guard. Now that is absolutely, completely true. Whenever you see a mine shroom, I almost guarantee you that you're going to see a psi bug or a psi beetle unless you've already killed them and they're gone already. Those guys literally are attracted to that stuff like catnip. You cannot even believe it how often you will see those guys. Now the other thing is, clearly when we were fighting one earlier and we got right on top of him, he didn't use his psi abilities. But he did get a lot harder to actually hit, so much so that I had to leave and come back, you know, distance-wise, to get him to open up his defenses so that I could actually do some damage. So you may want to take that into account. Of course, we were doing it unarmed, with no weapon whatsoever, so that may have played a role. Let's see, so we've already talked to him about cave hoppers and rat hounds. Never mind, let me ask you something else. Yeah? Can you tell me a bit about the creatures? And then we already did that. What are these tunnelers I've heard people mention? Oh my god, those guys are hard. The thing is, no one really knows for sure who they are. They are nomadic people of the depths, or the deeps. I was thinking of a different creature. People around these parts call them tunnelers because they are known to dig wide, sprawling tunnels throughout the underground, connecting remote places of the Underrail, but again, no one knows why they do that. Some say they might have a huge city in the middle of the deep cavern that you can reach if you follow the longest of their tunnels. Some also call them the Faceless because they believe that under their huge mask they have no face. Superstitious folk don't like people saying that word, though. They say it can draw their attention to you. Are they dangerous? You mean like faceless? Okay, thank you for the info. They say, are they dangerous? Very. But they are not always hostile. From my experience, it's the smaller groups of individual tunnelers that you should be most wary of. Larger groups generally leave other Underrail folks alone as long as they don't bother them. So you've met some personally? Lad, don't think there's much to this underground world I haven't seen yet. But that's a story for another time. Dang it, old man, you always hold back on the most important parts. Haha, good storyteller always leaves his public wanting more. So let's see, we've already asked... yeah, we've asked everything on this. Now, they sound pretty wicked, but it kind of sounds like as long as they don't feel threatened, you should be fine. Now, you can go down, or you can come through this door over here. It doesn't really matter which way you go. We're going to go down because I know it's a dead end. For now, anyways. Once you can actually open up some of these rocks, that's cool with the bats. Once you have the ability to destroy some of these rocks, and I'm not quite sure how, I'm guessing, like he said, dynamite. You saw that one guy that we got one of the psionic abilities for. He was using his abilities to try to break the rocks. I don't know if that actually works, but we could always try it one day. And you'll see there right here, this will lead to another area, maybe a large area, maybe a small area. I've never actually been able to break one down, so I'm not quite sure just yet. As you approach the passage, you can hear faint squeaking sounds coming from up ahead, and a pair of red beady eyes blinking in and out of the darkness. So it's basically warning you that from this point on, you're going to run into some bad guys. So just be ready for it. Now let's go ahead and zone in. Now, you can always wait a few seconds and then use your stealth. That way you have the drop on them if you see them first. Now, our stealth is pretty lame. Chances are, even if we see them first, they're going to see right through our stealth and initiate combat just like that. So now I can do my attack, and as you look up here on your character in the top left corner, you'll see the little red symbol means in combat. While your character is in combat, some actions might be unavailable. Combat will end after a short period of non-hostility. You also see focused. Your character is fully focused, which makes him more efficient in range combat. Focus is lost when you move. Now, you have, well, this is a bad turn to show you, but you'll have a certain number of movement points. But since he initiated combat and we were in stealth, our AP and or action points basically has been reduced. So we'll have like one turn, maybe 2 hits at most. So let's see. Living creatures for every target point. stunning it. So let's try this one and see what happens. Actually, before we do that, we'll cancel that and we'll use this. Because we need to use this on a rat hound, so let's see if we can hit him with it. And we missed, so we'll need to use it again on the next turn. Because we don't have enough action points. So we'll end our turn with the spacebar. And you can see he hit us actually several times, so keep that in mind that they don't just get one hit. You get several hits, they get several hits. There we go, so we hit him with it, so now it counts. Heavy punch, we don't have the action points for. Now, if you see right here, I have a yellow bar, and then it goes into green, and then it goes into red. Now, the yellow bar is my movement points. That is showing me how many spaces I can move using those little points. Now, movement points do not translate over into action points. I cannot, if I decide to stay still, I cannot use those movement points to get an extra hit. They are literally only there so that you can have points to maneuver around every turn. Granted, if you move, you're going to lose that focused ability, so remember that. The green is how many action points I have. Those are the points that I can use to either attack, or I can even use them to move if I decide I want to do that. And the red is showing me that it's too far out of the reach of what I can do this turn. So, let's see. We'll use this. Nice, not too bad. Let's go ahead and put our... No! Well, I guess we're not too far away, but it does suck because he is stunned, so on the next turn, he's not going to be able to move, and I'm going to have to waste a turn getting right on top of him. Ugh, that sucks. Let's move back to this. We'll get to the closest we possibly can and go ahead and use it. It kills him off pretty easy. Now we'll hit the spacebar and it will end our turn. And now we can pick up the remains. And his remains are a petrified rat hound tissue, miscellaneous, partially decomposed rat hound tissue sample. And we're going to go ahead and take all of that. And if you look in your quest journal, it doesn't automatically update. Shoot a rat hound with the bolt, with a bolt Quentin gave you, and collect a tissue sample. It doesn't say samples with an S, it says sample. So I'm going to go ahead and just assume that he only needs one. And that's all we're going to get for now. Reactivate the power generator, retrieve the package, final Jonas's watch. So let's go ahead and keep looking around. There's another rat hound over here. Let him initiate combat. Well, in fact, we'll put our hand back on. Let's do 95% on this guy. We'll try it out. Not too bad. And it didn't use any ammo, and we're not damaging anything because we're not wearing anything on our hands. So nice. Not too bad. 4 turns with just your hand-to-hand combat. Now you can decide to run away a little bit, a little further away. But in situations like this with rat hounds, I found that if you can put them in a choke point, which is just a terminology that the military uses to a narrow gap, so that only one person or several small groups can fit into it. Meaning, when I'm fighting this rat, if there's 5 or 6 guys with him, and I can get them all to funnel down a very, very narrow gap and fight one at a time, that's going to help me dramatically, because these guys don't have a ranged attack. So they will literally stand one behind the next, waiting their turn to attack. And it's very easy to kill them off that way, rather than fighting 5 or 6 that are completely and totally surrounding you and each getting a hit. So try to keep in mind that you can use your surroundings to your advantage. So we'll go ahead and use our heavy punch once more. There we go, 12. This is so much easier than the first time I played, that's for sure. Now you got rat hound leather. A rat hound skin can be turned into a suit of leather armor. In fact, we're wearing one right now. The quality will change depending on which piece of leather you find. I mean, you can find 50 different pieces of leather, and each one have a different quality on it. It's completely random. Depending on the quality of the leather is depending on the skill you need in tailoring to craft it into something. This one's quality 26, so I need a skill in tailoring of 26 to craft it. It weighs quite a bit too, it's 5 pounds, so keep that in mind. And if you're thinking that you can just get a whole bunch of this stuff and sell it, not a lot of vendors will buy that. So not a whole lot of use other than making it into armor. And then keep in mind that not a whole lot of vendors will buy the armor either until later in the game. So let's go ahead and use our heavy punch. Now, in case you're wondering why I'm not using my psi abilities, well, it uses power, and I don't want to waste that power until we absolutely have to have it. There are situations, I believe, coming up where we fight more than one person at a time, or more than one creature, and I want to save that power for those situations where it's really, really going to come in handy. Ooh, we got a critical hit on me. Now he's dead. Little punk. This fancy Radhound ear, it's an oddity. This Radhound was sporting a small gold earring for some reason. Okay, pick up, study this item to gain 50 points of experience. You can study this type of item up to 3 times. And then it says studied 0 out of 3 times. So what is telling you right here is you can find as many of these items as you want. They're randomly dropped off of creatures, but you're only able to get 50 points of experience 3 times. So if you find them 50 times, the last 47 will give you absolutely nothing for them. Only the first 3 times will do that. We got Radhound leather, and this one happens to have a quality of 24 rather than the 26 we found earlier. So let's go ahead and take everything and end our turn. And remember to look around as much as possible. You want the experience from killing these creatures. You want the loot. More than that, you want to make sure you don't miss anything when you're roaming around, because there can be some really, really good loot just around the corner as long as you're paying attention to what you're doing. So let's come back around. I believe this door is locked, but we'll find out here in a second. Nope, that one's unlocked. Let's see, what do we got here? A health hypo, medicine. A hypo filled with blood and enzymes. Okay, I've read that one to you before. Those are your ways of healing yourself while you're in combat. A lockpick. And the border guard orders. Oddity. These old blood-stained orders were issued by the Omega Central Command to their border guards. The orders state that the guards are to shoot anyone they perceive an SGS member on sight. Also, 1,000 Sharon bounty is placed on one called Gorski. So obviously, nobody ever collected that one. Pick up, study this item to gain 50 points of experience. You can study this type of item up to 3 times. And again, it's 0 out of 3 right now. Let's go power switch. Does nothing. Shells. What do we got here? 9mm standard round. Only one of them. 12.7mm standard round, and we get 3 of them. We got a psi booster. Contains a moderately amount of saturated psychokinetics that increase psionics, sorry guys, recover rates without any withdrawal effects. And 5mm standard rounds. You got 20 of them. So we'll take all of that. Definitely going to need that psionic booster. Let's see, ampule times 5. It's a component, a sterilized ampule. Value is 5 for each one. A vial, 3 components, sealed sterile vial, and 2 bandages, which you can use to heal yourself. But remember, you have to be above 40% to use those. So if you let your health go down too far, they're going to be worthless to you. So let's see. Now we can either go... And see, he's trapped in there. He can't do anything. But they will work their way around if they have to. Let's see. Can we punch through the gate? So we'll have to wait. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and use our attack. This one. Yeah, punk. Smack it. And then we'll go back. Hopefully not allowing them to come all the way through. Now, they probably will be able to get past me. But if we can, again, make that choke point, this would be the best place to do it. So let's use this again. Nice. Go ahead and end our turn. And we're not taking too bad on the damage. I mean, usually you'll be taking a lot more damage than this. Granted, we are playing it on easy. This seems a little too easy if you ask me, but I wish there was something in the middle, you know, not incredibly difficult and not too easy. Then again, we are doing it on a different build, so I think that might have something to do with it as well. There we go. And we'll end our turn. Come up here and look at what this dark area is. And I think this is the door that's going to be locked. Mechanical 10. So we definitely have the skill to open that up. And the best way to do that, or really the only way to do that, is to use your lockpicks. Now you right-click on it, and then select the door. And he will start lockpicking. Now if you don't have the skill, you won't lose the lockpick. So you can try it, and if it says you lack the skill, you'll keep the lockpick that you were trying to use, but he just won't open. So now we can come in here. Let's look at the shelves. What do we got here? A serrated knife mold component. A mold for serrated knife blades. Required crafting skill, mechanics 25. A Molotov Cocktail. It's a grenade. It's a very basic improvised incendiary grenade using gasoline as fuel. Everyone caught in the blast suffers 35 to 50 heat damage and has a 50% chance to catch fire, suffering additional 150% of the original damage over 3 turns. The fuel from the cocktail sets the ground on fire. Creatures standing in the fire suffer heat damage equal to 10% to 25% of their maximum health, plus an additional 10 to 39 damage, depending on their intensity of fire at that spot, while creatures moving through the fire suffer 1/3 of that damage per title. AP 15, cooldown 4 turns. So that's incredibly damaging. This is going to be like one of the first ones I've got for this, and that's an amazing thing to use. Again, you get another border guard's orders, and as you look down to the bottom, it says we've studied 1 out of 3. So we'll get this one and then 1 other, and beyond that, it won't do anything for us. So that's empty. Let's see, we got a box here, which has syringe times 5. Its component, a syringe, is a simple pump consisting of a plunger that fits tightly into a tube. It can be used to create various medical consumables and other items that need to be injected fluids into a body. And then of course we also got the health hypo times 2, which we'll need plenty of those. Let's go ahead and look at power switch, which won't do anything. And we're at 40%, so I'm going to go ahead and use a bandage. And you just right click on it, select yourself, and it goes ahead and starts using the bandage, which you can see has plenty of more time on it, but we just didn't have any more health for it to heal. So let's come on down here. Now you can either choose to go down, or you can choose to go up. Well, we're going to choose to go up first. But we're going to look around completely, make sure there's nothing else hidden over here before we do. So you can go that way. And you'll see this is a dead end. So this is the way we're going to go. Now we're very close to leveling, actually. Just need about another 95 points of experience. And you can see there's a lot of rats over here. Now rats, unlike humanoid creatures, cannot open doors. So if you ever get into trouble, you can run over here. And before you open up the door, remember that you spent some AP getting here. So I'm going to end my turn. And that will... Oh, I completely totally missed these 2 right here. So it's a good thing I didn't open that door, otherwise I would have been surrounded on all sides. So let's go ahead and use our little punch. Keep smacking these guys. End our turn. He's doing a little bit of damage, and you'll see that they're actually getting a bonus because they're pack hunting. Because so many of them are nearby, they feel a little bit more brazen, they're doing a little bit more damage. They're not as cautious as they normally would be. And the more you kill them, the less cautious or less brazen they will be. They become a little bit more cautious in the long run and do far, far less damage. Keep kill. Oh, nice. Negative 12 critical hit. Go ahead and end our turn. Smack this guy. Yeah. And you can see these guys are still over there. So what do we get here? Rat Hound leather component, Rat Hound skin. Quality is 19. What about this? Fancy Rat Hound ear. Again, we've studied 1 out of 3, so we'll get another one here. Adrenal gland component. A skilled biologist could extract small amounts of adrenaline from this gland. Required crafting skill biology 40. So we'll take all of that. And we'll get a little closer to the gate and end our turn. And now we're going to go ahead and before we do that, we're going to go ahead and look at our level. Just notice that we leveled up. Remember, every 4 levels you get a point that you can put into one of these skills right here that are your most important. But for every level you get 40 remaining, or 40 points to put into things here. So we're going to go ahead and max out our melee. As always, that's an extra 5 points. We're going to go ahead and max out our lockpicking, another 5. Our hacking, which is another 5. And thought control. And psychokinetics. I guess we should go ahead and put 5 more points into each one of these. Going 5 there, 5 there, and man, I almost don't want to do that. 20 seems pretty good right now, so I'm gonna put an extra 5 into this. And let's see, what about feats? Did we get one? We got an extra feat. So let's look. Power management, no. Increases critical chance of all psi abilities by 15%, but also increases their psi point cost by 20%. It sounds kind of nice, but I'm not sure if I like that. Shroomhead. Your subconscious is turned into a fungal surrounding so well that you recover 15 psi points when picking up mind shrooms. I do like that. Tranquility. Reduces the action point cost of all psi abilities by 5 while at full health. That sounds nice too. Man, I don't know on that one. Let me think. Seems like this one and this one would make a pretty good combination. I'm gonna go with that one. Accept. And you guys will have to let me know if you guys think that I went the right route on that, or if I did something stupid there. So let's go ahead and use... Nope, that didn't work. I don't have enough action points for it. What about just a regular attack? And you can see pack hunting. This creature is a pack hunter. Its damage is increased against targets that are surrounded by more of its pack. Damage against this current target is increased by 20%. So it's doing 20% greater damage simply because there's more than one of them. Keep using that. Go ahead and end my turn. Kill this guy right here. One more. There we go. Of course, the last hit I get on him has to be a critical hit. Kind of a waste. Wow, they're getting me pretty close to no life. Gotta be careful with that. Nice. Let's go ahead and use this again. Killed you, punk. In my turn. Let's see, did they drop anything there to loot? Just the gate that I can open, and oh, there's some remains right there. So let's see, healthy animal heart component. It's still filled with healthy blood that can be extracted for medical purposes. Required crafting skill biology 25. So we're going to go ahead and take that. And I'm also going to go ahead and run back real quick and heal up, I'm going to pause it so you guys don't have to watch that. This will be the first time I'm doing it for this character, but I don't want to waste any of these extra little vials this early on. I could simply use them, but I'm going to be a little cautious until I find out how this character is going to do. So I'll be back in 1 second, guys. So I was actually going to run back and heal up when I noticed the clock, and this episode is actually a little bit more than 40 minutes. So what we're going to go ahead and do is end the episode here. I'm sorry we didn't get through the entire quest, but we often don't, because some of these are very, very long, especially the dungeons. And the very first time I'm going through this, I'm explaining a little bit more than I will later on. As we go through more and more items that we recognize, I won't go through and read everything on them. And I've been sharing a little bit of some of the stuff I've learned during my first playthrough that I think you guys may find useful, and hopefully you do. And if you like these videos, please take a moment and just hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely helps grow my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you have any comments, you're welcome to leave them below, and I'll make sure I get back to them as soon as possible. Granted, I'm not an expert in any sense of the word with this game, but I have played it once through. I greatly enjoy this game, and I may be able to help you out. And if I can't, I'll look it up and see if I can find the answer for you. Again, guys, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next episode.